When considering a home renovation, one of the most asked questions is, how much will it cost? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to figure that out. And because we'll already expect the unexpected, you will eliminate those surprises because you've already planned for it. Oh, and you'll want to stay tuned to the end because I will share with you the tool that I use to estimate all of my client projects. For all things home renovation and design, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and click the bell so that you'll be notified every week when we upload a new video. I'm Alice T. Chan, home renovation and design specialist, known for completing projects in record time. My background in home staging, along with HGTV home makeovers, and working with private clients over the last 15 years, has allowed me to hone my skills and create the systems to complete home improvement projects as quickly as possible. Every project begins with a cost estimate, which is what I will show you today. There are 5 different types of costs to take into consideration. The first one is materials, which is pretty self-explanatory, right? Materials are the things that you need to complete your project. You'll want to itemize this room by room, especially if you're doing an entire home renovation or if you're doing multiple spaces. What I recommend that you do is stand at the entry of that space and scan it and list out everything that you think that you'll need to complete your project. So for example, if you are doing a bathroom renovation, if you stand at the entryway, you'll notice that, oh, I will need a vanity. And with that vanity, I'll probably need some knobs and pulls. I'll need a sink. I'll need a countertop. I'll need a faucet. And the list goes on. And what you'll want to do is plug all of this information into a spreadsheet and then do your research. You can either research it online, which is probably the easiest thing to do, or you can go out to a retail store and research how much each of those items that you have listed on your spreadsheet is going to cost. And that's going to help you figure out what your material costs are. Secondly, you're going to have labor. And labor is who you're going to hire in order to help you do the work. Who's going to help you bring your vision to life? My advice is to interview and get at least 3 bids. 3 is a pretty good number. And then you want to take a look at those bids and figure out what it includes. A lot of times contractors will provide allowances for materials in their bids. The way I work with my trades is, since I will be working with my clients to figure out what their design style is and what the actual vision is for the project, I am sourcing the materials and I will be purchasing those materials and having them available on site for the contractors to install. So if you are doing this yourself and you are sourcing those materials as well, the best way to approach it is to request for a construction bid. So they're only providing you numbers for labor and all of the construction materials. So things that you don't want to and you don't know how to purchase and what to purchase. Nails and screws and the plywood and the drywall and the wires and the plumbing. Those are things that they should provide as part of their service. But as far as the other materials is concerned, all the finishing items, you will purchase those and you will have them available on site for them to install. Next, we have what I consider miscellaneous costs, because this encompasses a variety of different things, such as permits. So if you're going to be doing work with permits, it's going to add a few $100s, maybe a couple $1,000s to your budget. So you'll need to take that into consideration. Another item is maybe storage, because if you're just doing one small bathroom, it's not such a big deal. You can remove those items and place them somewhere else in your house. But if you're doing a whole home renovation, you're basically moving. So where are you storing all of those items? Are you going to get an offsite storage? Are you going to get a pod delivered so that you can move the items into that pod? And those pods can either stay on your driveway or they can be moved offsite until you're ready to move them back in. Another expense might be meals out, especially if you're undergoing a kitchen renovation, because you won't have a kitchen to use during the duration of the project. So even if you are not doing a kitchen renovation, sometimes the disruption from having a renovation on site causes you to want to eat out versus trying to cook a meal. Another consideration is alternative housing. Now, everybody's situation is going to be different. I've had clients who moved out completely from the home because we're doing an entire home renovation, and that's probably a lot wiser. If you have friends and family you can stay with, that obviously helps. If you need to rent an apartment temporarily, that is a cost that you would need to take into consideration, as well as perhaps I've had clients who just did weekend trips to a hotel because we're undergoing certain phases of the project where we need to turn off the electricity or we need to do some plumbing, and so water needs to be turned off. So rather than having to deal with that, being offsite, especially when you have young children, makes it a lot more convenient. The next thing to take into consideration are contingencies. Now, contingencies are going to be those things that are what ifs, just in case, right? We don't know if this is going to happen, but we need to make sure that we set aside funds for it, because the last thing you need is to be surprised by, oh, hello, we have rat infestation or we have termite infestation. And so then we'll have to address those issues, and there's a few $1,000s that is not available. Now, it makes for a really great TV, right? Oh my goodness, there's termite infestation and we didn't account for that in the budget. Well, we're smarter than TV, okay? We're going to account for that right from the get-go. So just in case, that you've already set aside funds for that. Now, if it doesn't happen, kudos to you. Take that money, spend it on other things, or maybe we'll have another area that you want to renovate. But make sure you set aside funds for those situations where you're not going to know until we start getting into the work and we find out there's wood rot. I mean, that's fairly common. The final cost to take into consideration is your time and opportunity cost. Now, I know nobody ever really talks about this. It's not a sexy subject, but it's very important to take into consideration how long this project will take. It is very disruptive to your everyday lifestyle. So you need to consider how much longer it's going to take for you to live in the home during the renovation versus moving out, so that the renovation can be completed quicker, right? Because if contractors are working around your schedule, they can't arrive until a certain time, they have to leave by a certain time to make it comfortable for you to live there, and also not being able to do things like turn off the electricity and turn off the water, or work in certain spaces because it's not convenient for you while you're living in the home, that slows down the process. Another thing, if you're the DIY type, if you're doing a lot of this work yourself, you need to consider how much longer it takes for you to do it versus hiring professionals to do the work. If it's not in your budget to hire professionals, that's okay. Just know that it's going to take you that much longer, and there are certain jobs that you will want to hire out to the professionals. Another consideration is, do you have the time and the energy to design and manage your own home renovation? Because when it comes to projects like this, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and made very quickly. And there's a lot of activity that's happening that somebody needs to oversee. Is that something that you're going to be able to do and be able to work full-time and be a parent, taking your children to their activities and doing other social things? If not, consider hiring a professional to help you with the project management aspects. So here's an example of a budget spreadsheet that I put together for every single one of my projects that I manage. And as you can see here, I've outlined it by the room that we are working on. In this particular case, we were working on a kitchen renovation. If we were working on multiple rooms, I would outline it room by room, starting off with, let's say, the entry into the living room, dining room, kitchen, etc., etc. And then we would outline all of the items that we would need, as I had mentioned earlier, for that specific room. So because this was the kitchen, we needed cabinetry, we needed handles, under cabinet lights, pendant lights, countertop, etc., etc. I put down what my estimated cost would be for that particular project, and then what the actual costs are. Now, I blacked out some of these items for privacy reasons. You would outline who the vendor was that you purchased the item from, when you ordered it. I've hidden some of these columns, but you would also have what the estimated delivery date would be, and then the actual delivery date, and then any notes here or comments. Now, the notes and comments is a great area to put a link to where you purchased the product so that you can easily access that information. You could put number of items needed here. You could put whatever notes would help you identify any particular information about these products here. As you can see, when you scroll down, you have the labor. And you would have estimated cost of the labor, and then what the actual costs are. You can put the vendors' names here. You can actually put their contact information here if that's easier for you to have it in one place. and then you would have a total for the labor. So you have a total for materials here, you have a total for labor, and then you have a total materials and labor. So the estimated cost was this much, this was the actual cost, and in this case we were actually able to come in under budget, which is really, really nice. So now you know what costs to expect in a home renovation, and I've walked you through my project budget spreadsheet. To make this super easy for you to do this yourself, I am gifting you that exact spreadsheet so that you can start plugging in those numbers and figure out what those estimates are and get a real understanding of what the real costs are. Not these airy-fairy like, oh, I think it's going to cost $50,000. No, you are going to do the research and you will figure out exactly how much it's going to be to complete your renovation based on your taste, your level of finishes, and labor costs in your area. So let's just walk through it. We've got the top here, we've got what the budget is going to be, and then here we're working on a bathroom, and I'll show you, I'll walk you through each of the columns. We have what the item is, right? So these are all the different items that we need. The quantity, what the estimated costs are, what the actual costs are, who the vendor is. Like I said, it's really nice to be able to remember who you purchased that item from, put a link to their website, put a specific link to the item that you ordered, what that order date is, the expected delivery and the actual delivery date, and then any notes and comments that you want to include to help you remember something specific about this product. At the bottom here, we have an estimated materials subtotal. So that's for that particular column. And then we have the actual, and that's the total for that particular. And it's just nice to be able to compare what you estimated things for and what the actual costs were. Same thing with labor. You're gonna need all these different trades, what the estimated costs were, what the actual costs are, who that vendor was. You can put their contact information here in the notes and comments, or something that they said, and what the estimated, you can even add an additional column here, what the estimated completion date is, or what the date was completed. You can even add notes here about when you paid these folks, right? And again, you're gonna get your subtotals, and then you're going to have your total totals. There's no need to reinvent the wheel, just download the template using the link in the description box below. Is it more than you expected it to be? Well, at least you'll know how much more you need before you get started. Or if it's less, great, then you can go ahead and do another project in your home. But this is really important to know so that you're not scrambling at the last minute, stressed out because you didn't have enough funds. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos that we upload going forward. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.